us, and we welcome you to episode 16 of Gridiron Glory. I'm Alexander Cook, and yesterday I had a hearty Thanksgiving meal. I want to thank my parents for that, and just every day of love. And I also want to thank you for being a listener, spreading the word, following us on Twitter, checking us out on Facebook, and following us on Google+. We really do appreciate that. Also checking out our blog. We just want to say thank you. And let's start with our Thanksgiving NFL games. 2 out of 3 were awesome. We start out with the Vikings taking on the Lions. Vikings 6-4 on the road at Ford Field, taking on the 6-4 Lions for control of the division. So a lot on the line in this Thanksgiving day. The NFC North on the line. Early game, 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern. It was on CBS. Jim Nantz and Phil Simms had the call. And things started off as a tie. The Lions and the Vikings both scored 7 in the first quarter. But then the Lions add a field goal to their lead. So at the half, Lions were up 10-7, but then in the third quarter, the Vikings tied things up 10-10, and then in the beginning of the fourth, they add a field goal to their lead. So now we had the Vikings up 13-10, but in the end, the Lions scored another field goal. So it's 13-13, and with 3 seconds left on the clock, Matt Prater kicked a game-winning field goal in your final. Lions 16, Vikings 13. Lions are on top in the NFC North. Top performers, Matthew Stafford of Detroit. He's 23 of 40 for 232 yards and a touchdown. For rushing, we had Theo Riddick from Detroit. He had 9 carries for 45 yards, and receiving Golden Tate had a good day, of course, of Detroit. 5 receptions for 77 yards, no touchdowns. And then we had another good one. The Washington Redskins on the road at AT&T Stadium against the Dallas Cowboys, and it was a good game with some good stats. Let's take a look at your top performers first. Kirk Cousins of Washington, 41 of 53, 449 yards and 3 touchdowns. But in the rushing game, it's Dallas's Ezekiel Elliott getting the job done, 20 carries for 97 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the leader for receptions was with Washington, Deshaun Jackson, 4 receptions for 118 yards and a touchdown. So things started with the Dallas touchdown, and that was how the first quarter went. And then the lead got even bigger, 17-6 at the end of the first half. And in the third quarter, there's no score, but the Redskins scored 20 points in the fourth quarter. And all of a sudden, you've got a big ball game here. But although the Cowboys only scored 14 in the fourth quarter, when you add 7 and 10 and 14, you get 31. When you add 6 and 20, you get 26. What a game. That was on Fox. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman had the call, and that was a lot of fun. As the Cowboys, now my Super Bowl favorite, the big win there. And then we had a bore, so to speak. Steelers taking on the Colts, as the Steelers get the job done 28-7, and just not an impressive performance for the Colts, but Andrew Luck didn't start. So at this point, Lions 7-4, 5-1 at home, on top in their division, the NFC North. Vikings fall 6-5, and we're looking at Washington falling to 6-4-1. Dallas moving up to 10-1, and then Steelers at 6 moving to 6-5. Colts falling to 5-6. Now let's take a look at the Cowboys division, perhaps the NFC East, and that's perhaps the best division in all football. Of course, the AFC West has something to say about that. But if you look right now, Cowboys have a good lead. Right now they're 10-1 versus the Giants, who are 7-3, Redskins 6-4, Eagles 5-5. But let's take a look at the AFC West, which is also a competitive division. Number 1, it's the Raiders. They're 8-2, Chiefs 7-3. We had the Broncos at 7-3, and then the Chargers 4-6. Very competitive division. They're definitely something to watch. And that's going to do it for our NFL highlights. But we did have one college game yesterday. It's LSU taking on Texas A&M at Kyle Field, and your final, a high-scoring one in the SEC. And most people thought this one might be a little lower scoring. LSU wins 54-39 in complete control of this game, really the entire time. And what a win for Ed Orgeron and company. But does this save his job? I'm going to tell you in just a second. And one other job situation. What about Charlie Strong? We thought that one was in the hole, but could he survive? Talk about that right now. So first, I saw last night on ESPN, it said breaking news. Tom Herman is reportedly closing in on a deal with LSU football. And it could be as early as Saturday, could be later. And then another report. It says Texas may not fire Charlie Strong after all. Will he get another chance? Will Tom Herman get the job at LSU? I think he will. I think both of those are, now I can't give you a definitive answer on Charlie Strong. I think they're going to continue to look, but right now I think Tom Herman has got a job with LSU. I don't think Ed Orgeron's going to survive. When he got lost to Florida and he got lost to Alabama, your arch rival, it just doesn't work out. So I think he's going to be out, but I think if you give him a little, I think Tom Herman's a good coach, but I think you might want to give Ed Orgeron a chance because he looks like a pretty good coach in reality, but of course you can't do everything in 1 year when you're with the same team as someone who got fired, but I think we're going to see Tom Herman hang to LSU, and here's why. Because I think Jimbo Fisher declined an offer to go to LSU. I thought he was going to go, but he declined, apparently. But, of course, all this could be wrong. It could be just a bunch of jumbo jash or whatever. But, honestly, I believe that Tom Herman's going to LSU, and then I think Charlie Strong right now is safe. We talked about Brian Kelly, Mark D'Antonio, Mark Helfrich probably being safe, and Mark Helfrich is clinging on with that one against Utah. I think he gets one more chance at it. But when it comes to Charlie Strong, I think he's going to get one more shot. And it's because I don't see anyone in the job market. I don't think you hire the former Baylor coach Art Briles because of his problems. So I think you give Charlie Strong one more chance. I think that's what's going to happen, and we'll see from there. Of course, Mark Helfrich needs to win the Civil War to save his job. And if he wins the Civil War, which is the game against Oregon State, then I think his job is safe. But if he loses, then he's in trouble, in my opinion. So very interesting on the job situations, and Ryan Kelly and Mark D'Antonio totally safe. Mark Helfrich will be talking about him on Sunday. And Orgeron, I think he's going to go. I think you're going to have Tom Herman come in. I think Charlie Strong may be safe. But we'll just have to see who's on the job market, what Texas is thinking. And there's a lot going on there. Very interesting situation. And let's take a look at our Week 13 schedule in college football. Of course, we had LSU beating Texas A&M 54-39. But what do we have today on Friday, November 25th, day after Thanksgiving? Well, we had number 20 Houston on the road at Memphis. That's going to be ABC, 12 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to go with Houston. They've just been too strong, and they've got a lot of momentum coming off of that Louisville game. I think they get the win there. And then we have another fun one. Number 5, Washington at number 23, Washington State, the game of the day. Unfortunately, it's happened during another game I'd like to see, but I'm going to be watching this one. It's on Fox, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. And I'm going to go with, in a very close game, I'm going to go Washington. I wouldn't be surprised I'm wrong. I think they just have the offensive line. I think I think their defense does enough. So in a very close game, Washington gets the W. And I think they're going to play Colorado in the Pac-12 championship game, but we'll get down there. And then we had number 19, Boise State at Air Force Falcon Stadium. That's at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on the CBS Sports Network. And their Air Force is 8-3, although they're 4th in the Mountain Division. But Boise State has been too strong. I'm going to go number 20, Boise State Broncos here, getting a close win at Air Force. And then we have which should be another fun one on ABC, a Big Ten collision, number 16, Nebraska at Iowa. I think in this game it's going to be very close. But I'm going to upset bid here. I think Iowa is going to pull off an upset against these Nebraska Cornhuskers. I mean, you look at what Iowa's done. They have played really well on the defensive side of the ball. And Nebraska, I'm not sure they can hold up on that side of the ball. I think that Iowa's going to make Tommy Armstrong crack down, and I think that's why they're going to get a win against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. At home, you've got everything you can ask for, and of course, Kinnick Stadium. So, very interesting matchup right there. Give me the Hawkeyes in an upset. And then at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern on ESPN2, another game to watch. It's Toledo at number 21, Western Michigan. I think it's going to be tight. I think there's going to be a lot of drama as these 9-2 Toledo Rockets come play the 11-0. There's only one other team that's 11-0, and that's Alabama, and undefeated. There you go. I think Western Michigan has too much on both sides of the ball. Western Michigan gets the win against Toledo. And then number 11, Louisville tomorrow, Saturday, November 26th, is going to be hosting Kentucky. And I think it's actually going to be a very close matchup for a half. But then I think Louisville pulls away, and they get a win against Kentucky. So that's 12 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on ESPN. And then here's the game that we're all waiting for. It's the game. Playoff implications, Big Ten championship implications. Everything is on the line when we go to Columbus tomorrow, Ohio Stadium. It's 12 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Chris Fowler, and by the way, thank you, Mr. Fowler, for following us. We absolutely love your calls here at Gridiron Glory. Kirk Herbstreit, Sam Ponder. It's number 3 Michigan at number 2 Ohio State, 12 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Is it another game of the century? Perhaps. And I'm going to give you a detailed pick of that one in just a little bit. And let's move down on the list. Another ranked matchup. It's the Iron Bowl. Number 13 Auburn at number 1 Alabama. Southern grit. And this is what football is all about. I'll give you my pick, a detailed one, in a little bit. Then we have Notre Dame visiting number 12 USC, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC. USC right now, along with Alabama, I agree with Kirk Herbstreit. If I could choose two teams not to play, it'd be Alabama and USC. USC is on a roll. I think they take care of business big time against Notre Dame. Blowout win for the Trojans. And then on ESPNU, we have number 25 Navy at SMU. And I've got Navy big in this one. They have been looking pretty good recently. And then on FS1, number 18 West Virginia visiting Iowa State. Iowa State's terrible. I think West Virginia bounces back after that terrible loss against Oklahoma on Saturday Night Football. They get the win here. And then Michigan State, number 7 Penn State. A Big Ten championship game picture is relying on perhaps this game and perhaps, definitely Michigan, Ohio State, but perhaps this game. If Ohio State wins, if Penn State beats Michigan State at home, Beaver Stadium, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, then that means that Penn State's going to the Big Ten championship. But if they lose, then that means that Ohio State's going to the Big Ten championship game. So a lot on the line in that one. My pick, Penn State, in actually a close one. I think Michigan State makes things competitive, but in the end, I think Penn State pulls away and gets a W. Minnesota, number 6, Wisconsin, 3 p.m. Eastern on the Big Ten Network, Camp Randall Stadium, Big Ten football at its biggest. And in this one, I am going to go Wisconsin by a good amount. I think they control the game on defense. They're so good on defense, and I think they get enough done on offense to get a win. I think they've improved on offense, but I can't guarantee you that because they've been playing nobodies. But definitely a game to watch there with Wisconsin and Minnesota. I'm going Wisconsin in a low-scoring, close game. I think they get the win. And then let's continue to move down here. We have another ranked matchup, number 22, Utah taking on number 9, Colorado on Fox at 3 p.m. Eastern. That's Folsom Field again, where the Buffs beat the Washington State Cougars. I'll give you my pick in just a little bit. Number 4, Clemson hosting South Carolina. Clemson big. 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Clemson big. No explanation necessary. South Carolina hasn't been great. Clemson has been on a roll. Give me Clemson. Then we have number 17, Tennessee at Vanderbilt on the SEC Network. And I'm going with Tennessee big at Vandy. Vandy just hasn't been good. And they're just, terrible. Then we have Rice on the road at number 24, Stanford. And Stanford, Pac-12 Network, 8 p.m. Eastern, under the primetime lights, wins big against Rice. And, the Cardinals aren't the best this year, but they're not out of this picture. Look for them to be better next year, and look for them to be a true contender next year, because it only takes about a year for David Shaw to get things going the way it should go. And it's going to be something very interesting with that team. And don't be surprised if the pundits say, no, they'll be terrible, and then they look really, really good. And a huge matchup Saturday Night Football on ABC. Number 15, Florida at number 14, Florida State. That's 8 p.m. Eastern, of course. I'll give you my pick for that one in just a little bit. SEC ACC collision. And now let's go with our ranked picks right now. We'll start with Colorado hosting number 22, Utah number 9, Colorado Buffs. I love those Buffs, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox. I think it's a close game, but I don't think Utah can handle Colorado. Colorado has so much experience with ranked games, and I love those Buffs right now. I absolutely love them. They're going to the Pac-12 championship because they're getting a win here against Utah. And there you go, my Pac-12 championship game picture. Washington versus Colorado. And you'll want to tune in next Friday for my pick on that huge game. And then we have another ranked matchup, number 15, Florida on the road at number 14, Florida State, 8 p.m. Eastern on ABC, Saturday Night Football. And I'm going to go with Florida State. I think Florida has defense, but they don't have offense. Florida State's got both. And, when Florida has offense, that will be a much more competitive game. It's still a game to watch. It's going to be the game I'm watching, most likely. Though I might tune into that Colorado game because that one could get very, very interesting. And now the Iron Bowl. It's what Southern football is all about. Southeastern Conference hatred between these two teams. Number 13, Auburn goes on the road. Number 1, Alabama. It's 3:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS, Bryant-Denny Stadium. The lights will be shining bright after Michigan, Ohio State, and that will be. And I'll give you my detailed pick right now. But first, I want to thank Vern Lundquist for so many great years of service, play-by-play announcing, and also with the SEC on CBS. This is his last Iron Bowl, and we will remember him. If there's one thing that was consistent throughout all these years, it was his play-by-play. It was not, we knew that him and Gary Danielson were the best in the biz, and we're going to provide the best play-by-play. We didn't know how our teams would fare, but we did know that he was there for us through everything, from a kick six reminiscent moment to a blowout when another team blows out our own team. But he was such a great guy, and he's so genuine. He's such a great person, and thank you, Mr. Lundquist, for all you've done for us football fans all these years. And I just want to say that. Thank you. And now for my detailed pick. Number 13, Auburn. Number 1, Alabama. Alabama's got everything. They've got the offense. They've got the defense. They've got the special teams. Auburn, not so great. But good news for Auburn. They have their star dynamic running back, Cameron Petway, in the game. And that's going to be huge for Auburn. As if he can get a good game, then Auburn is in this thing. And I mean they're in this thing. I think it's going to be a very close game at first. But then I think Alabama's going to kind of run away with this. My final score prediction, 24-13, Alabama. I think we're going to be talking about Gus Malzahn's field goal problems again, because I think when you get down into the red zone, Auburn has not been great, and I think they're going to have to kick field goals. That's just not going to work out. They're going to put themselves out of this game, and then Alabama's going to do enough with Jalen Hurts against an elite Auburn defense, especially late, to get the job done in this game. But it would be very interesting if Cameron Petway got started. I think he'll get started early, but then I think Alabama cracks down on him. But if he can really get started all game, then we're going to have a game that will come down to the wire and a game that we will remember for a long, long time. As Alabama hopes, well, they know they're advancing to the SEC championship game, but they just hope they'll have that chance to play in the college football playoff. And even if they lose this game but win the SEC championship game, they're going. But if they lose both, or if they lose the SEC championship game, we'll have to think twice about if they're going to the playoff. And now for a detailed pick. Number 3, Michigan, and number 2, Ohio State. It's just been called, well, the game. Why? Because we don't need a fancy name. It's just the game. Because it's the best game. Playoff implications. Big Ten championship implications. Bragging rights. It's all on the line in Columbus. 12 p.m. Eastern on ABC. And everything on the line. These teams hate each other. They want to smack each other in the face. But which one will do it? Here's how I think the game will go. Number 3, Michigan will get 7 points on the board early. And they're going to have that lead at halftime. But after halftime, Ohio State's going to come out, JT Barrett and company, they're going to finally do something. I think the first half he's going to be regulate. He's going to have to throw the ball, the running attack, which Ohio State's one of the best at, will just not work out to throw, and things just will not work out. Michigan, though, if they do have Wilton Speight, then they're in a good situation to win this game because Speight is great, absolutely great. And he did practice Thursday, but no one knows who will start. Assuming Speight starts, I don't think he'll be 100%, but I think he'll do things at a high level. But Ohio State is so good stopping the run, especially stopping the pass. So I think, Michigan's really deep when it comes to running backs, and they have so many high performers. You've got Davion Smith, you've got Ty Isaac, you got Chris Evans, you've got Jabril Peppers, and they're going to batter Ohio State in the running attack. I think they're going to have some success, but not enough success to make things count. Then I think in the second half, JT Barrett and company, they're going to come out firing up. Michigan's going to try and do the same thing, but then JT Barrett's going to start taking advantage, and that's how I think the Buckeyes will win 20-10. They've got the atmosphere. They've got the running attack. They don't have a passing attack, and that's the key thing. Because if Michigan can force JT Barrett in the pocket, stop the running game, load the box, and make him throw, then they're in a good situation. But if they can't, then it's going to be pretty hard for them. And, pretty hard. So, anyway, we've got a lot on the line in this game, and I think Ohio State 20-10, they've got things in their favor. But if Michigan can stop their rushing attack, then we're going to have a very close game, especially if Wilton Speight starts. But I think Ohio State's got too much in the end. They get the win. Well, that's going to do it for Gridiron Glory episode 16. I'm Alexander Cook from the studio saying so long, and please follow us on Twitter at @TheFootballKids. Check out our blog at gridironglorysportsblog.weebly.com. Check out our Facebook by simply searching Gridiron Glory Sports Podcast. Check out our Google Plus by simply searching Gridiron Glory Sports Podcast, and please follow us on Google Plus. And thank you for joining us once again. We're so thankful to have great listeners like you, and we hope you enjoy the best college football weekend of all. We'll bring you the highlights Sunday. We'll bring you the NFL picks, and we're going to have quite a day in sports. Quite a day tomorrow, quite a day today. And we're just so thankful that you're joining us, and we're so thankful that you are a college football fan. Well, so long.